Rev up your engines!
It turns out that the inventory at the Tesla Gigafactory in China is increasing at a rapid rate. In the United States, people have been buying for quite some time. They really don't have much of an inventory, right? But in China, the inventory is building up because guess what? The Chinese are not buying them. They got 16,000 of them sitting there that aren't sold. A few weeks ago, they lowered the price of them in China. Obviously, this is the beginning of the demise of Tesla and his insane profit. They were bragging the other day that Tesla earns 8 times as much per car than Toyota does. Well, to me, it's greed and they're asking too much money for a low-quality product, right? Well, it's kind of starting to come home to roost now. It's starting in China. Sure, it'll follow in the rest of the world soon after because he's not the only game in town now. There's many other electric car manufacturers. Like I said, I wouldn't buy yet. It's going to be a long time in the future. Normal, everybody's driving electric cars around. They certainly aren't going to be buying $80,000 to $120,000 Teslas. They're going to be buying ones that cost a lot less money, like the Volkswagens. Or I'm sure the Chinese are going to have some cheaper models that they're going to sell. It may sound good. They try to spin it. Well, you know, we've got surplus there now. It's no longer have to wait to buy one. Yeah, because people aren't buying them. Now, the reports that are out say this Gigafactory in China is going to be able to produce 1.1 to 1.2 million Teslas per year. They can build as many as they want, but if people don't buy them, they're not going to be around all that long. At least at the price point that they have now. He said he's already started to drop them in China. If the guy's making 8 times the profit per car than Toyota, you know something's amiss. They're charging too much. They're not putting quality into their vehicles like the Toyotas, where it costs money to build quality. Like I tell people, and they'll say, I'm going to buy a Korean car because the Toyotas cost too much. I said, amortize it over 10, 20 years. You'll be buying a bunch of the Korean cars. You'll probably be on the original Toyota. You're making out paying more for quality than paying less for crap. We'll see how it pans out in the future, but I find it funny. Now he's got a bunch of them he can't sell. Golfer Club said, Scotty, do you know if hydrogen kits, HHO, work? Guy tried to sell me one and claimed to boost performance of gas mileage. Well, of course, it's not true. And here's why it's not true. You're going against the laws of physics. What they're doing is, they're getting water. Then through electrolysis, using the energy from your alternator and battery, it bubbles the hydrogen out, and then it's supposed to route it into your car and burn the hydrogen. One, you're not going to get better gas mileage for one fact. The energy it takes to break the hydrogen apart from the H2O to get the hydrogen out so you can burn it. It takes more energy to get it apart than you ever get burning it. So you're losing energy because you're creating the hydrogen from electrolysis, and it takes energy, and that's done by the generator charging the battery. So it takes that much energy from your engine, so you're actually losing power, and it's a net loss. You're actually going to lose. You're going to lose more energy than you gain. That's bad enough. 2, the worst thing is, it could destroy your car. If that isn't metered right, who knows what's going to happen to your engine. It's like water injection. Water, the hydrogen burns, the steam cleans the engine, makes it run good, right? But only a fine mist put in correctly. You put a little bit too much water, boom, your engine blows up. So I would not advise ever trying that crap. 1, they don't work. 2, you can destroy your engine. And even if you had a tank of hydrogen, you'd have to know how to meter that into your car perfectly. Too much, boom, it would blow up. I mean, you could destroy things. So stay away from those scams. James Hoff says, Scotty, what do you think of Chevron plus gas treatment? It's a decent cleaner. Chevron was one of the early ones to use Techron. It's a nitrogen-based cleaner that a lot of the cleaners use now. And they all pretty much use the same kind of stuff. Here's the thing. Most cars never need a cleaner. I don't put cleaner in any of my cars because they run perfectly fine on gasoline. I change the oil regularly, and they still get, my Matrix still gets 37 miles a gallon on the highway, and the thing is 15 years old. So if you got a junker, hasn't been taken care of, you might put treatment in once in a while. But it's not something you need to regularly do. That's a decent cleaner. You may got an old junky car, it's all carboned up, put it in, it could help. They're not miracles, but that's a decent cleaner. The problem is they always upsell, put it in every time you fill your car up with gas. Yeah, bunch of nonsense. You don't need to do that. Gasoline already has additives in it at the pump. Jump in Production says, Scotty, I'm in a used car market looking at a 2015 Scion TC with 146,000 miles for $9,500. Do you think it's a good deal in this crazy market? Well, no. That's like $10,000. A Scion TC with 146,000 miles on it. I would never pay that kind of money. You can't find anything better. First, and I mean first, you had that thing checked out by a guy like me and pulled the spark plugs out. Some of those burn oil. See, it's an oil burner, walk away. Don't buy the stupid thing. You're going to have proof that it was maintained correctly. If they don't have maintenance records, don't buy it. It would have to be clean as a whistle, and a mechanic like me would have to say it's great. Any good mechanic. With the scan tools today, we plug them in. We can look at hundreds of lines of data, and we can see, is this car good or bad? And it doesn't take us but half an hour to do. You got to do that when you're buying a used car. I still think that's way too much money, but they're good cars. but you got to have it checked out first. Amazed Galaxy says, Scotty, I got an '02 Civic, 240,000 miles. Needs a new catalytic converter to pass smog in California. And I'd need to buy the state certified part that's $1,000. Are there other options? Yes. Leave California, come to Tennessee. They don't even do emissions inspecting. You're screwed because of the laws they have in California. Most other places, the only thing that matters is what comes out the tailpipe. If it passes the emissions test. And there's many catalytic converters, especially on that, because that's an old one. It's a 21-year-old. Universal cats work fine on those things, but your state doesn't allow it, right? Most places, go to a muffler shop, have them put a catalytic converter, have them tested. It passes, go to a different place, get it inspected. Unless it's like Germany, and they keep records of everything they do there. And they, no, you can't do this here in California. Old car like that, any cat should work perfectly fine. The modern ones, no, they're too touchy on many cars. But on that old thing, anything should work. If you can get it and then get it re-inspected someplace else, that's what I do. But if they keep weird records, well, then you're screwed and you're going to have to buy that stupid part. Hector Dominguez says, Scotty, I got a 17 Honda Pilot, 98,000 kilometers, V6. How do I know when to change the timing belt? No sounds. Okay, well, you only got 98,000 kilometers. Just change it every 100,000 miles. 180,000 kilometers, something, I don't know. But you still got a long way to go. 100,000 miles is when you want to change it. It's just crazy that Honda's still using rubber timing belts. Everybody else in the world's gone to timing chains, but Honda didn't with their V6s. They did with their four-cylinder engines, but for some reason their V6s, most of them still have timing belts on it, which is kind of stupid, but that's the way Honda went. Legend says, Scotty, when my car's cold, the power steering fluid is at max. When it's hot, it goes a little over max. Should I take some out? It will be okay. Take some out. That's why it's got the level lines on it, because you don't want it to get too high, build up extra pressure. Make sure that it's at the max when it's hot. That's all you need to do, because those pressures, power steering pumps put out like 1,500 pounds per square inch pressure up. A lot of pressure. And it gets hot. Hotter it gets, it expands and takes up more space. Only have it at the max when it's hot. You can just suck it out with a turkey baster or something. Omar says, should I buy a 2017 Ford Transit Connect passenger wagon with 2.5 liter four-cylinder engine, or 2018 Chevy City Express or Dodge Ram ProMaster, the small one? All right. Out of those, I'd buy the Ford. I would never buy the little Ram ProMaster. It's Ram ProMaster. No, it isn't. It's Fiat. It's all telling you know, Fiat owned Chrysler. Now Stellantis owns Peugeot, Fiat, Chrysler, like the three stooges of car manufacturing. I'd have got bring me a Ram ProMaster, one of those little crappy vans, right? It had like 4,000 miles. It was burning oil. The engine clacked like mad. It's Italian junk. Don't buy that. And now I'm not a fan of the Chevy either. Out of those, I would definitely buy the Ford. They sell a lot of those little things. I have a lot of customers that own them for businesses, and they're happy enough with them. I don't have a single person that bought that Ram ProMaster was happy. They just make too much noise. They burn oil at a low age. It's just junk. Michael Burry, the guy who did The Big Short, he's against cryptocurrency, and he says it all comes down to one of the original sins, and it is, of course, greed. The worry that you'll be left out and making money with everyone else, right? If you saw that thing the other day, the guy who was a billionaire, at least on paper, Sam Bankman-Fried, lost billions overnight. You're going to be waiting a soup line eventually if you put all your money into that stuff. And the Big Short guy says, hey, it comes down to one thing, greed. And it makes total sense, you know? You scare people into everybody's making a fortune. Jump in, jump in. Now, you know the Big Short guy, hey, he was railing about these prime swap derivatives before the last big recession, right? That was created by prime swap derivatives. And for years, the banker said, oh, he's nuts. He doesn't know. It took him 2 years to finally break through that it all fell apart. And he did the Big Short. He shorted them for his investors and made them billions of dollars because he saw it was all fake, selling houses to people with no credit. Well, cryptocurrency, as far as I'm concerned, is even worse. At least you sell a house to somebody bad credit. There's a house involved, right? Cryptocurrency, there's nothing involved. Of course, even the big one, Bitcoin, it's way down now too. For example, the past 24 hours, Bitcoin's lost 17% of its value in a day. I met some Bitcoin guys in Seattle, and I said, you know, I understand the mathematics behind this stuff, but I said, why would anybody want to put their money in something that really isn't anything? There's nothing behind it. And they said one thing, money laundering. That's just the way that it goes. And if you're involved in something that was created basically for money laundering, I can't say it's a smart thing to put your money into and hope that it's there later, because it's all starting to vaporize now. Now, the cryptocurrency guys, it's a belief, you know, it's almost like a religion. They believe in this stuff. It's the future. Everyone else is making money. We're going to jump on the bandwagon. Well, let me tell you something. The guy that started the bandwagon, they generally make a lot of money. They're the leaders of the bandwagon. You're the last one to jump on the bandwagon. You're basically dead weight. When the wheels start falling off the bandwagon, you wonder, what happened? Because Almost all of these things are gigantic pyramid schemes. The guys at the top that started it, they make a fortune. But when you're at the bottom and you just joined, your money's going in to feed them. You might watch out. The Big Short guy's smart. You should kind of stay away from cryptocurrency if you know what's good for you. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.